Yeah, no.
Good evening, everyone. I, Anushka Singh, on behalf of Society for Data Science, welcome you all to today's session. As you know, we at Society for Data Science are a student community of data enthusiasts where students from broad majors share their common interest in the field of data science. We aim to bring more and more students an opportunity to explore and learn about data science. We are delighted to host Data Science Summit 2022 this year as well. I welcome you all to the webinar on getting started with Kaggle with our guest speaker as none other than Ms. Usha Rengaraju. Apart from being a scholar at Harvard University and the founder of Neuro AI, she is a unicorn data scientist with strong foundations in business analytics, business foundations, economics, finance, and psychology. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much for the introduction, Anushka. And it's a pleasure to be here again, part of the BITS Mesra Data Science Summit once again. I mean, it's a well hosted event with great lineup of speakers. The students have put in, and the organizers have put in a lot of effort into it with getting the great community partners, with great kind of managing every bit of organizing to the minute detail. Congratulations to all of you. And let's get started with today's session, which is Kaggle 101. How to get started with Kaggle for absolute beginners, and how for people who are already into it, how to ensure you use Kaggle properly. So this is what today's talk we will be covering about. And Anushka has already given an introduction about me. You can follow me on Twitter at Rengaraju, and I share all the events which I do at Twitter. And if there is any notebook which I write in Kaggle, you'll find it in Twitter. So you can follow me on Twitter, and you can also follow me on Kaggle. At again, it's my Kaggle username is Tensor Girl. So I'll share my Kaggle username out there. Okay, so this is about it, and the next thing is I'll get started with how to navigate into Kaggle. Before navigation, for people who don't even have an account in Kaggle, you can sign in, or if you already have registered earlier. But if you've not registered earlier, click on register button, and you can register with Google. Again, if you've registered earlier, then you can sign in with Google easily. So register with all you require is just a Gmail ID to get an account in Kaggle, and you will create an account in a minute or two. So you can do it now itself simultaneously along with me. And so go to kaggle.com. You will find an about option called register. Click on it, and you can register and create an account in Kaggle in a minute or so using your Gmail ID. All you require is just your Gmail ID. Once you do
Sorry
a
for
register,
interruption, ma'am.
yeah.
Yes, sorry for interruption. Like, are you going to share your screen or anything else?
Oh, have I not shared my screen already?
No, no,
Oh,
no,
sorry.
no. I have not shared.
Okay, I thought I've shared it. Okay, now is it visible?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, thanks for letting me know. I was of the opinion I've shared it. So thanks for pointing it out. Yeah, so where are we? So if people have not already seen this demo, and just once again come back again, so you have sign in register option. When you click on register, you all you require is just your Gmail ID. You can register and create an account in Kaggle. So it will just take 1 or 2 minutes. If you just I'm very sure almost all of you will have a Gmail ID, so it's just going to take you 1 or 2 minutes to register with Google and Gmail ID and get an account created. Once you get an account created, how to navigate the platform, how to ensure you use it to the fullest. So for people who do not for people who are what to say an absolute beginner, if you're a first year student and if you don't even know machine learning, so that is one category. If you know a bit of machine learning by attending a lot of online courses, and that is the second category. So I'll address both categories of audience. If you're an absolute beginner, the first place you should get started is the Kaggle courses here. Click on Kaggle courses. You have a lot of micro courses here. And all these are called micro courses because they are just 4 hours. In just less than 4 hours, you can even complete it in a 2 hours or so. It's very easy. And these are called micro courses because they're very short, and these are mostly hands-on based courses. So you can complete it very, very fast, and it's a good kind of learning because you learn while practice simultaneously. And then all these courses are free, and you also get a certificate of completion which you can add it to your LinkedIn. So these are Kaggle micro courses available for you. And so this is the first step you should take if you are an absolute beginner, if you've not even don't even know anything about machine learning and you want to get started with Kaggle projects. These are micro courses which contain the sufficient knowledge to help you get started with Kaggle competitions. They don't teach you everything in data science, but they teach you the bare minimum to get started. So if you're an absolute beginner, don't know anything in machine learning, first step, go to Kaggle courses. The reason why I recommend is it is free. And it is free, gives you high quality courses, and you also get a certificate of completion as well. So first do this. Once you are done with it, see, they teach you from Python. They also give you, like, the libraries like Pandas, and you also get data cleaning, feature engineering. All these micro courses are there, which is quite compact enough to teach you width and breadth of data science. And once you do that, you have, by now, you once you've completed that, you will have the basic bare minimum to get started. And now the next thing is you should head on to is competitions. So in competitions, you have different types of competitions. When you click on competitions tab, you have prize money competitions, and you also have knowledge based competitions. Even in knowledge, you have for each competition data type, you have one competition. For example, Titanic, if you take, it's a machine learning classification problem. And if you take house prices, it's a machine learning regression problem. Again, digit recognizer is a computer vision problem. You have NLP problem. You have reinforcement learning. Again, petals to metals is computer vision on TPUs. So you have time series here. You have GANs. You have again NLP. So for each topic, you have one kind of a knowledge competition. So first enter into one of the knowledge competitions. For example, Titanic, you will find around 10,000 codes, so you don't have to know anything in advance. You can just go through these notebooks and get a good idea of it, and then go to the discussion forum. And if you have any questions, in spite of going through these things, you can come and ask your question by creating a new topic. And if you know the answer, you can go and answer the other people's questions as well. So it's a great way to build your skills. So you can go to code, and if you want to share your knowledge, you can create a new notebook and share it. You can also read other people's notebooks. So once you practice with this knowledge based competitions, you will get the enough confidence to delve into the other types of competitions. Then after you finish machine learning classification, you can go for machine learning regression and computer vision, NLP, and all that. Once you dabble with all the basic competitions, you'll get an idea in which you're interested. Are you interested in tabular data? Or are you interested in computer vision? Or are you interested in NLP? I would recommend choosing one of it and become a specialist in it instead of dabbling in everything. Choose one and be very strong in it. But if you're good in dabbling in everything, then that's also up to you. And once you've done that, go to the prize money competitions, which are quite which gives you a lot of cash prizes. You can go there at the beginning. Try to, once you've become an expert, you can focus on many competitions at the same time. At the beginning, focus on one competition at a time. A lot of people get carried away and they participate in 8 competitions. Even I have done that mistake before. 8 competitions, 7 competitions at the same time. Such things, you may not be able to give that kind of an individual competition which is required, and you won't get that kind of a learning. So there's no point in participating in so many competitions and not learning anything. So participate in one single competitions and practice every day. You can also team up with people. Teaming up with people is a great way to learn a lot of things. One way of teaming up is you can team up with your students who are part of your classmates, whom you know really well. and that is also one kind of teammate. So once you team up with a gang of 4 or 5, you can meet every day at fixed time online, and then you can start discussing ideas, divide the work and do it, so you can share each other's ideas. That's a great way to learn. Or you can also team up with anybody across the world, provided you speak to them and get to know them really well. The reason why I understand is, if you do not know somebody, then ensure you at least have a call with them and then you team up. The reason why I'm telling you is, when you team up with random people and that person has got multiple accounts in Kaggle, for example, then the Kaggle actually has a rule that you shouldn't have multiple accounts. And what if you hadn't had the conversation with your teammate, and later on, after you had teamed up, you get to know the person has multiple accounts? Nothing can be done. Even if you win gold medal, you will still be eliminated after the end of the competition, not during the competition. So you don't even know you will be eliminated or not. So such kind of things happen. So you ensure you team up with the right person by just having a conversation. Ensure you ask the questions whether the person is having multiple accounts or private sharing. These are some of the questions which you need to ask before teaming up. So a good way to get started is teaming up with your own students from your own batchmates from your university during the early stages, so that you divide the work and ensure you learn a lot. So when you focus on a single competition for a period of 3 months, there's a lot of learning which comes out of it. So this is my recommendations: to start with a knowledge based competitions and then move on to a prize money competition. Focus on a single competition at a point of time, so that way you will get ensure you can learn a lot, practice a lot, and prototype a lot of ideas and things like that. This is about competitions. You can also host community competitions. For example, if you're going to be hosting any kind of machine learning competitions, if you want to conduct any university level hackathons, then you can also host competitions. For example, recently I hosted a competition called ML Olympiad, which is sponsored by the Google developers. I'm a TensorFlow user group organizer as well. So it's sponsored by the Google developers. So the first three winners will get prize from the TensorFlow team US. And this competition is about classifying whether a person has got autism or not based on certain set of the patient features. So you can also, if you have a data set, you can also create a synthetic data set from an existing data set using CT GANs, and then you can host your own competition for your university hackathons or challenges as well. That is also possible. And you can have your own leaderboard. You can be the host. For example, for this competition, I'm the host. So you can see you know so there are a bunch of people who are the hosts for this competition. So this is something you can team up with few people, host competitions for your universities as well. So there's a community competitions features which is available, and this is also a great way to help the community and also learn a lot from it as well. And it saves you a lot of time. See, when you host a competition in Kaggle, all you have to do is setting for once in a while. You will do a setting at the beginning, and after that you don't have to do anything. Everything is taken care of by Kaggle. So it is very easy to organize any university level datathons and things like that, because the leaderboard you don't have to manage. It is automatically managed by the Kaggle. And so this is about the Kaggle competition and community competitions, and then you have data sets. So most of us, as university students, you will have to connect a lot of what to say. You have to do a lot of projects as a part of your. If you're going to be computer science, and you have to do a lot of projects. Maybe as a part of your university semester expectations, if they're asking you to do a lot of projects in data science, whether it could be data visualization projects. Because I was taking for master students, for first year students, master students, symbiosis, I had been taking them data visualization in Tableau. So for that they had the semester end projects, for which they had to take 5 data sets from Kaggle, and they have to do a complete end-to-end storytelling using those data sets. That was the task for the final project. And so they use the data sets from Kaggle. So for any kind of projects as a part of your university curriculum, Kaggle has got huge number of data sets. You've got around 100,000 data sets. So any topic you search, you will have data sets on the topic. So if you want any data set, the first thing you can come is do a search on Kaggle, find out if the data sets exist in Kaggle, then it comes under Apache 2 license, so you can use it for any non-commercial purpose. And if you do not find the data set in Kaggle, then you can go for Google data set search, or you can contact the research paper authors directly, mail them asking for the data set access and things like that. The first level, you can actually make use of the Kaggle data sets. And you can also, if you are conducting any research or you're conducting any survey and or experiment, and it's first of its kind, and you want to share that research data with a lot of people for advancing the research in certain way, in certain domains, and you can also make your own data set which you created public in Kaggle. So Kaggle has an option to create a new data set as well. So you can create a data set. You have an option called new data set. So when you click on the new data set, you have to upload the files, give a data set title, and then it will take you through automatically all the steps. The few things, one of the things which I would like to share is, recently there was something called Women in Data Science Datathon, which concluded yesterday night. And during this 2 months of Datathon, which was organized by Stanford University, I was invited by a university in Hubli to give a session on the Datathon data set. So while I was giving this, all of you know Hubli is a city in Karnataka, and it contains a UNESCO heritage site. I think most of you might know. And this particular university is there is a department. There's also a Samsung research lab in the university. There is a department, and the head of dean of research, she was giving the keynote talk during the session. What she mentioned was, these people, a data science team in that university, collaborating with the industrial researchers, they collected several photos of these UNESCO heritage sites. All of you know UNESCO heritage sites. It's like more than 1,000 years or 2,000 years old, and all these sites are broken. So there's a lot of damage you made. They are using machine learning and AI and latest cutting edge computer vision techniques to reconstruct these heritage sites. So using artificial intelligence. So for this purpose, they have collected huge volumes of data. The dean of research asked me, she wanted some help because she is going to come make these data set public, because these are kind of projects which require a huge amount of public support and public intervention to take this research forward. It cannot be done by a single team or a small group of people. You require a larger amount of intervention to make it success at a mass scale. And so they're going to make the data set public. They've been collecting data for long years now, more than 7 to 10 years, and they're going to take that data set public. And so if you're involved in some kind of a research like that, and you want the lot of people to get involved, you can also outsource your data set to Kaggle. I'm just giving you a single example, but there might be a lot of cases in your university which you're doing. So you can also try that out. So this is about the Kaggle dataset options. You can create your new dataset using clicking this new dataset option, uploading the files, and then giving a description of the datasets and things like that. The code section, whenever you're given any assignments in universities or any projects or mini projects you want to do, the first thing you can come and search for. If you're, for example, if you're searching for YOLO v5 code, then I can just, you want some template for YOLO v5, then I can just put YOLO v5, and I'll get a lot of templates. So you can also filter it out on last 90 days and last week, what was the YOLO models which was done last week. You can also view it, whether the ones which you have not viewed earlier. You can also filter it out like this, or if you ones which you viewed earlier, things like that. And this is one of the ways which you can filter out codes and search for your needs. I'll just search for YOLO V5, but as a part of your project, you might have a different requirement and you want some template to get started. Kaggle code section is a great way to search for the templates, and you can use these templates to get up and running. And always a template is better than starting from the scratch, so it saves you a lot of time. And this is about the code section. It's not necessary that you should always use others work. You will also have great ideas as a student, and you want to get feedback from the community. Kaggle is a huge community with 7 million data scientists, and so you want to showcase your work and you want to get feedback. That's also possible. You can go and create a new notebook. You can either create notebook under the competitions. So for example, the current competition feedback prize is one of the NLP competitions which is running. See, huge amount of money, $160,000 from Georgia State University. And you go and click on the code section. There's a huge amount of code here. So there's a lot of code. And so you can also go and write notebooks under competitions, or you can write notebooks up for any data set, not just competitions. And so this is also possible. And so you can also become a notebooks grandmaster if you get gold medals, 15 gold medals. So there's also a Kaggle progression system out there. So this is about the notebooks. So when you click on the discussions, you will have discussions of different things. You have general discussions where the Kaggle team itself will give you the general tips and tricks. So for example, they have all their uh, all the new updates which they have it written here. And the best resources for beginners. They have also resources like community guidelines. Ensure you go through all the community guidelines, terms and service, and all these things. And so this is what is under general forum. You also have other things, like if you have general question answers, you can ask here. If you have any feedback for the products, you can ask here. You can also ask in the getting started place. This is about Kaggle's discussion forum. It's not necessary you should use it only for asking questions. You can also go and answer other people's questions as well. You can filter out on based on recently posted. You will find all the recently posted questions, and you can go and answer any questions if you know the answer for the questions as well. So this is about Kaggle's discussion forum, courses, the notebooks, data sets, and the competitions. We have mainly covered almost all important sections of the Kaggle. And you also have the clean documentation, and just in case you have any doubts at any point of time, you have clear documentations. When you click on more, you will have an option for documentations where you have a clear documentation for notebooks, how to use notebooks effectively, how to use data sets effectively, how to use the competitions effectively, and how to use TensorFlow processing units. You have extensive documentations to help you get up and running. And if you want to contact the Kaggle team, you also have something called community guidelines. Ensure you go through the community guidelines once or twice. The reason why I'm stressing is there are a few things, like you shouldn't have multiple accounts in Kaggle. You should have only single account. If you have multiple accounts, ensure you delete it. And then you should also not do private sharing when you participate in a competition. What I mean by private sharing is, if you have formed a team in Kaggle, you should not share any tips and tricks with another team in Kaggle who's participating in the same competition. So that is not allowed. That's called private sharing. If you do that, you will be disqualified from the team. So ensure you go through the Kaggle's community guidelines and ensure you do not violate any of it. And if you have any problems, you can also contact the Kaggle team directly. That's there. They've given a separate tab called contact. And this is about the sections of Kaggle. I'll also cover some of the other important sections, like how to write a notebook. So when you click on new notebook options, there are a few things which you need to understand when you create a new notebook. You can give any meaningful name of a notebook here. And if you want to add any data set, you can add. It could be any competition data, or it could be any other data set as well. And you can also change the accelerator. The default is CPU, but you also have GPU and TPU as well. You can enable or disable internet, and you can trigger the frequency and monthly, and so these are things setups which you can done. For example, if you want your notebook to be run on the 5th of every month, you can set the frequency as well. But if you do not want to set anything, just leave it as the default state. You can add any number of data set using the add data option. You can change the accelerator, whether you want to disable or enable the internet, you can make changes here. So these are some of the features which you need. And if you want to commit your notebook, you can click on save version. You can use save and run all option. But if you just want to save the things which you have written, but you do not want to commit, then you can use a quick save option. And if you want to go for advanced settings, whether you want to save the output or not, or save it only for this version, you can also tune it here. You can also change the accelerator here as well. So this is about the further fine tuning of the notebooks. Notebooks by default will be private. You can make it public by clicking here. So this is about Kaggle's notebook sections, and we've almost gone through almost every section of Kaggle. And so I'll open up for questions now. If you have any questions, then I'll be able to take the questions. So this is my profile in Kaggle. My name is Tensor Girl. You can go and follow me on Kaggle. And this is my profile, and I'll also share my Twitter profile. You can follow me on Twitter as well. Sorry. Yeah, we've come to the end of the session. There are a few more tips which I would like to give before we proceed to the questions. Yes, the projects and resumes. So when I see a lot of pressure, so because I hire a lot of interns now and then, and then when I see a lot of freshers resumes, I see a lot of basic projects like Titanic and all that. So when you put your projects on resume, ensure you take some real world use case, and you apply whatever you theoretical knowledge you learned in the courses, and take some real world use case, like it could be developing helmet detection for Indian roads, where you can help the police department by detecting helmets. And then if the person is not wearing the helmets, it will automatically capture the number plate of that person, and then a trigger will be sent to the police department automatically. So it eliminates the use of manual constables standing there to find people who violate the rules. So these are some of the examples for real world projects in the community space. So if you look around the community, India has so much of data and all the government departments, and there's not many volunteers to take up the data and get insights. So you can volunteer at your local police station or your collectorate office or any other government agencies, and they have huge amounts of data. You can use those data, build a dashboard or reporting system or whatever that agency requires. You can volunteer for free of cost. Of course, they're not going to pay you, because hiring in government offices and all has a lot of policy, and you have to be above a age and all. So they may not hire you, but they will be very much willing to get you on board as an unpaid volunteer. So India has so many problems. So if you're a student, you can get involved with the community space, try to do something for the community. I'll give an example where students of Mysore, they volunteer. There is a particular lake which is very dirty in Mysore. They volunteered. They kept a lot of sensors in the lake, which collected a lot of data, which found out which area of the lake is polluted. So students of Mysore in and around several colleges came together. They volunteered. They helped in the cleaning of lake using artificial intelligence. So you can, collaborate with university people, university students across multiple universities, and you can solve a problem for the local community or any of the government agencies and or non-profit organizations. So these are some of the ways you can build a good portfolio of projects. So in an interview, project is what matters. No matter how many courses you've completed, what the interviewers are looking for is, can you apply these theoretical knowledge into some kind of a practical project? This is what the interviewers are looking for. And the next thing which I also wanted to warn you is about the jobs, internship search. See, when you go for an internship search, there are a lot of students who applied for very few openings. For example, I wanted to hire 3 people in January. I finished the hiring now. But when I was early Jan, when I was looking for 3 interns, that time there were around 700 to 800 people who had submitted applications, and almost 150 of them were equally good. But even if they're good, I can only select 3. So the number of people applying for internships are huge. And so if you get rejected, it doesn't mean you are not good. It doesn't mean but because you're equally good as the other ones which have got selected, but they just got a little lucky. So differentiating yourself from the crowd is very important. When there are 150 resumes which are equally good, there could be some differentiator points in that which will make them stand out from the crowd. So ensure you do things which will help you stand out from the crowd, and also don't get rejected. So there are a lot of good candidates who will get rejected as well, so don't lose hope, and keep trying. And it's very normal to get rejected, so you should also develop the ability to handle rejections. And social media presence is very much important these days, so ensure you build good social media profile. So these are some of the recommendations which I have. And so if you're not getting internship at all, then don't waste time. Ensure you can build your own portfolio of projects as well. If you get, it is good. If you do not get, then you don't lose hope. You can also build your own portfolio of projects, and which you can showcase for your final employer who's hiring you after graduation as well. So these are some of the recommendations which I have outside of Kaggle. So yes, we have done with the session. Kaggle 101. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Kaggle. And I'm opening up for questions. If there are any questions, you can ask me now. Yeah, hello. Yeah, I'm seeing one question. Is Kaggle faster than Colab? I think Colab is sometimes faster. So if you want something which is faster, then I would highly recommend go for Colab Pro, which is $10 per month. And if you want something much more faster, then you can go for Colab Pro Plus, because Colab also gives you K80 GPU only. Kaggle is a bit faster because it gives you P100. I think at times it gives you P100 GPUs. So Kaggle is a bit faster than Colab, the normal Colab without any subscription. But if you go for Colab Pro, you will get P100 GPUs as well with 16 GB RAM. Colab Pro Plus has got again. Sometimes you might even get lucky and get A100 in Colab Pro Plus, but it is again 52 GB RAM. So the difference between Colab Pro and Colab Pro Plus is that Colab Pro, it gets disconnected often, but Colab Pro Plus has got background execution. For instance, you can put anything to run and you can close the window, it will still keep running in the background. So Colab Pro Plus has got a lot of advantages. It's $50. If you're going to be a very advanced Kaggle, then Colab Pro Plus is a good option. You have $50 per month, and then you can use P100 GPUs or V100 GPUs, 52 GB RAM, and you also get 16 GB GPU RAM, and you also get background execution feature, which is very crucial, because if you're program is going to get terminated often, that may not work out for Kaggle kind of environment where you have to run some kind of model, train some models for 16 hours, 10 hours, and you need a platform which doesn't disconnect often. So Colab Pro may not be the best, but Colab Pro Plus is something which I highly recommend. Yeah.
Thank you for the answer. I think it should cover. And now we have a next question from Yes, and he is asking like, how can we increase session time in Kaggle kernel?
See, the Kaggle has got certain features, like it has got only 36 hours of GPU and 20 hours of TPU. But Kaggle gives you unlimited CPU option. So you have unlimited CPU for Kaggle. So you don't have to increase session time if you're using CPU. But if you're using GPU, Kaggle has got a policy that it now they have increased it to 9 or 12 hours. I'm not sure. I think 12 hours. They had a recent discussion post. Wait, let me check the discussion post. There's a recent update. I think they've increased it to. I think let me check in the product feedback. Yeah, increased session time for notebooks. So they increased it to 12 hours, I think. Let me check. Yeah, from 9 hours they increased it to 12 hours for GPU. And so which means your notebook can run for 12 hours without any interruption, and the background execution is available up to 12 hours. And beyond 12 hours, your notebook will get terminated automatically by Kaggle. So what you can do is you can save, if you want to run 100 epochs, and if you feel only 30 epochs will get completed by 12 hours, what you can do is you can save your model for the first 12 epochs, and then you can, when the next time when you run, then after next 12 you can load that saved model, and you can train the above that, you can train another 12 epochs, like that. You can save and load. You can use that feature to if you want to run for 100 hours. But the Kaggle has gives you only 12 hours of session time, and it will get terminated after that 12 hours automatically by Kaggle. And so you have to plan accordingly, like maybe say you can use that save and load feature, things like that, to ensure you can you can save your model, and then later on load that saved model and train about that, things like that. This is my recommendation. Yeah. And most of the competitions have a rule that your model should not run more than 9 hours of time. So the competition itself has a rule like that. See, for example, the recently concluded competition, if you go to this TensorFlow competition,
Thank you,
so you
Usha.
had this completed competition here. There's one competition which recently got over from the TensorFlow team, which is Great Barrier Reef. If you go to this, what to say, rules, code requirements, the GPU time and the CPU time should not exceed 9 hours of time. So you have to come up with a model which doesn't exceed this time. So if you come up with a model, no matter how great your model is performing, but it is having more than 9 hours of runtime, then your model is not qualified for the competition itself. So you have some kind of a requirement like this by the competition host itself. So you have to come up with effective techniques to ensure your CPU time doesn't exceed 9 hours. What Kaggle gives you is only 12 hours. That too, it was 9 hours only earlier. Only 1 month back, they gave the update. They increased the 9 hours to 12 hours. And your session time will be terminated automatically at the end of 12th hour. Yeah, the
Thank you,
question.
Usha. We will pick the next question. The next question is, can we enable CUDA on Kaggle?
Yeah, it is automatically enabled. You just have to type two commands, and you can just see what kind of. Yeah, I'll give you some kind of recommendations on certain people's notebooks. There are a few people like grandmasters like Chris Diot and all that. They have written a lot of things using Rapids, which is a library from NVIDIA. So you have options to enable. It's automatically enabled for you, but if you're going to use Rapids library, and which is from NVIDIA itself, and that library will help you save timing. Like for example, Rapids can save you run really faster. Same SVM if you do it using Scikit-learn, and SVM you do it using Rapids, it can be 500 times faster. So if you want to use Rapids library, NVIDIA Cuda is automatically enabled. But if you want to use Rapids library, then you can just check out Chris Diode's notebooks. He has got like Rapids SVR, Boost, Rapids Scan, and Boost. He has written a lot of notebooks on how to use Rapids library in Kaggle. And you require some kind of an installation. Rapids is also already installed, but you need to do a pip install, I think. Maybe for Rapids, you need to you do a pip install. So you can check out the Chris Diode Grandmaster's notebooks for how to use Rapids library. He has done a lot of notebooks on Rapids, and there are like around 6 to 7 Grandmasters from NVIDIA who have written a lot of notebooks on how to use Rapids library, which might help you get up and started.
Okay, Usha, thanks. Uh, the next question is, how do we use CPU for interactive session but commit using GPU in Kaggle?
So this is something which I've not tried it out. You want to see use CPU for interactive session. This might be a trial and error which you can run. Maybe like you can create a new notebook, and for example, this notebook if I create, so I have the accelerator here as none, but while I save it, I can still go to the advanced session. While I'm committing, I can, give a GPU, but I'm not sure how much of this will it work or not, but you can just give it a try. You can keep the accelerator in the notebook as none, which means you're using CPU. But while you're committing, you can go and change the advanced setting here as done using GPU. Check if it is working. I'm not sure of this because I've never tried it. I have my own local GPU workstation, so I don't use generally the Kaggle GPUs unless and until it's like an emergency or things like that. And I have a better GPU than Kaggle. So I've not used this feature. I've not tried it out, but I would highly recommend trying it this way. Keep your notebook accelerator none. But when you commit it, you can go to the advanced session and change it. See if this is working. If this is not working, you can create a discussion post and ask the Kaggle team on why it is not working. They might get back to you and stuff. Since I have a better GPU than Kaggle one, I don't generally use Kaggle's GPU at all. Yeah. Next question.
Yeah. The next question is, how much time we should give to learning ML and data science? If not daily, but weekly or monthly, that's the question.
You should spend, if you want to become an expert in it, I would recommend learn by practicing. So you can become an expert in 6 months, but every day spending 3 hours every day. And if you're spending only on weekends, you can spend on Saturdays and Sundays 7 hours, 7 hours each. And it might take you somewhere between to become an expert in machine learning. If you work very very hard for 6 months, you can get a good grasp on it, provided the kind of approach for learning you take is hands-on based. If you just learn theory for 6 months, and you can't expect to become an expert. If you go for a hands-on based learning, that is, you learn some concept, immediately take a data set and try it out, and learn and experiment with projects parallelly. For machine learning alone, it will take 6 months. If you want to learn computer vision, it depends on how fast you learn. Some candidates, I've seen candidates picking up in 2 3 days and getting started with computer vision projects as well. But they may not know the mathematics of it behind it, but they're still able to perform some prototyping and all that. So it depends on the candidate how fast you can learn. So without learning the mathematics, there are candidates who learn it very, very fast. But I would highly recommend learn the mathematics behind it, which might be very useful for research-based roles and all. So anywhere between 3 to 6 months, based on the kind of how fast the candidate can learn and things like that.
Yeah, the question is answered. So that was all from this webinar, and we hope you will be there again with us in the next summit as well. I
Yeah.
hope that everyone took a lot from this informative webinar. Uh, at last, I will like to thank you, Usha ma'am. It has
Yeah.
been very gratifying to have you with us here.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I had great time giving this session. It's my pleasure. I would love to collaborate for the next year's event as well. And if there is any other event which is coming up in this year itself, I would love to collaborate as well. Great job in organizing. Hats off to all the organizers. You've done a wonderful job in putting up the event. Keep it up, keep up the good work, and keep doing a lot of such activities for the community. And all the best wishes to you, Aditya, and best wishes to all of you involved. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you.
So, yeah, we will be ending the webinar.
Yeah, sure.